Happy Bitcoin Day, or more specifically, Happy Bitcoin is now legal tender in El Salvador Day.
This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as financial advice. All views expressed on this podcast are solely the opinions of the host and/or any guests that we might have from time to time. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular investing strategy.
As I alluded to earlier today, El Salvador's historic law making Bitcoin legal tender alongside the US dollar in that country has officially taken effect. As President Bukele anticipated, the FUD has been relentless, but they have held their ground in what is surely to be just the beginning for Bitcoin nation-state adoption. Amongst the numerous FUD articles out there, hysterically, even the CoinDesk's front page article hailing the new law spends the majority of the article talking to a citizen by the last name of Colorado who claims to be a Bitcoin holder, but before long swerves off into the tangent that the government basically approved the law with, quote, none of them understand it, that, quote, terrorists or international hackers who have received payments of Bitcoin will now go to the country to launder their money, and that, yes, quote, I'm afraid that the Salvadoran economy will collapse, unquote. Definitely seems like you found a Bitcoin maxi down there to interview, doesn't it, CoinDesk? We know that the results, whether successful or failure, won't be determined for a long time, and that the significance of this law perhaps isn't the adoption of Bitcoin so much as it is the first nation-state adoption of Bitcoin, the first domino to fall. Millions and millions of Bitcoin users took to social media over the weekend to prepare celebrations, with one Reddit thread in particular on the r/Bitcoin subreddit encouraging its 3 million plus members to each purchase $30 worth of Bitcoin to show solidarity with our fellow Bitcoiners now in El Salvador, with perhaps even the possibility of a small pump to help boost the price of Bitcoin for our new Bitcoin users in the cards. However, as you can tell if you've been following the news today, that at least has not occurred. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, I wanted to point out, in case you don't know, the reason why everybody has settled on $30 as the amount that you should invest today to show your support is that the official government Chivo wallet is going to be preloaded with $30 worth of Bitcoin for El Salvador citizens to use on their locally hosted Lightning network. To use as however they want, but each citizen that downloads the wallet will be receiving $30 of the Bitcoin along with that wallet as part of the kickoff for this law. So that's where the $30 figure comes from. Again, nothing in this podcast is financial advice, and that $30 figure certainly is not financial advice. It is just a symbolic number based on the amount of Bitcoin that El Salvador citizens will be receiving. As we've mentioned in our DCA Wednesday series, where we dollar cost average just $20 a week, $30 is quite a lot of money in some parts of the world. And in El Salvador, $30 is certainly a significant amount of money. Anybody who's been in this space long enough knows better than to try and make any Bitcoin price predictions one way or another. With the inherent volatility and bull traps and bear traps and short squeezes and long squeezes that we've seen, crypto winners, pumps. However, hours before the law took effect, Bitcoin's price tanked by approximately 10%, dropping from around 52,000 to as low as 42,000 before recovering a little bit and hovering around the $46,000 mark. And that is where you will find us right now. Depending where you look, the current price of Bitcoin is approximately $46,890, and we are at a block height of 699,539,000. And we are preparing to do our $30 more to support El Salvador. I am going to be investing $30, just like the meme says. Actually, I probably stack a little more than that today, but for the purposes of celebration, we're going to open up our handy dandy Cash App, load up $30, and prepare to purchase Bitcoin. And again, Cash App, not a sponsor of this show. That $30 is actually going to be $29.32 after a 68-cent fee because they charge about 2.25%, 2.5% to purchase using Cash App. That's going to get us 62,514 Satoshis. And confirm, and boom, $30 more to help support El Salvador. Hopefully you guys do the same. I know we do our DCA Wednesday every Wednesday, and I'm going to keep these Satoshis segregated from our dollar cost average experiment, as obviously this was a one-off purchase. Maybe you could call it buying the dip because, hey, we certainly scored a discount this afternoon by purchasing at 46,000 instead of 52. But again, the purpose of this purchase was to show solidarity with our Bitcoiners, our fellow Bitcoiners in Central America who have the fortitude to push this thing forward and to challenge the IMF and the World Bank and all the people that have been pressuring them to abandon ship on this initiative. And they have pushed forward, and today is the day. So welcome aboard, El Salvador. May the rest of your country be as prosperous as Bitcoin Beach. The adoption of Bitcoin by El Salvador certainly isn't the only thing that was in the news today. However, I think that history will show it was definitely the most important. Congratulations, President Bukele, on taking the initiative and thrusting your country into the 21st century. All right, well, I was going to keep that short and sweet. This is bonus content. It's not going to get in the way of our normal podcast. But I did certainly want to commemorate the day, and I wanted to make sure that we were a part of that $30 stack. And I hope you were a part of it too. Hey, if you find this content useful or entertaining, or if you're just feeling extraordinarily generous, there are a number of ways you can help support me in this podcast. The most obvious one is if you don't already have Cash App, there is a referral code in the show notes. And if you click on that link and set up a new Cash App account, follow their terms and conditions, you'll get $5 just for trying them out, and we'll get $5 as well. I've written several books, but the one you might know that's most relevant to this podcast is Understanding Bitcoin for Noobs, and that's available on both Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Obviously, purchasing either of my books would help support the podcast as well. And you can also support the podcast directly through the Anchor.fm website, and they include a support link automatically in the show notes. And last but not least, we also include a Base32 Bitcoin address in the show notes if you feel like helping us out by contributing Bitcoin. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Bitcoin Bulletin podcast. Don't forget to join us next Wednesday and every Wednesday as we continue the journey. Once again, thanks for listening, and keep stacking those sats, you sexy sat stackers.